Hello, this is a Nikken showcase, and we're Nikken distributors. This is not a corporate event, but we're sharing our stories and giving you an overview of Nikken. Hopefully somebody has recommended this website to you, and you have started to investigate Nikken. It's a wonderful discovery process, and we hope you enjoy the next half hour, and I'm going to share a PowerPoint and then interview one of our special guests. So I'm going to share my screen here. And hide the panel and start the show. So we believe Nikken is a better way, in fact, a whole new way to a life in balance and abundance. And it's all about people, planet, and profit. They all work together in the Nikken way of life. And it's all about a choice, and in fact, many choices, but the Nikken choice is to embrace active wellness and collaborative entrepreneurship. It's an amazing opportunity, and it's all about creating a new definition of success. Success isn't just having all the money you want. It's about having balance and abundance in all 5 pillars of health, and that's healthy mind, healthy body, healthy family, healthy society, and healthy finances. And my first career was as a lawyer. I was working with a big Philadelphia firm, and I was very aware of the lack of balance there, because there were some partners making huge amount of money, but they never saw their family, and they were in a high-rise, never got outside except occasionally for a golf game. And we were helping corporations fight each other, which wasn't even that good for society. So people's health was suffering, their families were suffering, and they had all this money, but what's the point? And so I chose to get out of big firm law, and when I started my family, I discovered that I loved being a parent, and I started writing parenting books and started a home-based business where I was self-employed doing family counseling. But there, the limit can be how much can you charge for an hour's counseling. So this really appealed to me, the idea that you can have balance in all 5 pillars. And Nikken really makes that possible. And the focus of daily life, really success, is the small choices we make every day that consistently over time make a radical difference. You're either feeling like you're at your full potential, like the lady on the top right, or the lady on the bottom where, you know, there's depression and feeling you're not acting up to your potential. So those daily choices are responsible for your results in income, health, relationships, success, and happiness. And the main stress in today's world is finances. And when I was a family counselor, I saw that very graphically. Even if they were worried about their child's health or their parents' health, it was how to pay for it and pay for the missing days and pay for lost time at work. Finances were a huge, huge burden. And the problem we have is that most people, 95% of the population, earns their living by being an employee or self-employed, which I've just described my experience with both of those. And time equals money. You only have so much time, and you're only paid what the employer thinks you're worth or what your customers are willing to pay you if you're self-employed. And those 95% of the population only control 5% of the wealth. So it's very hard to get wealthy as an employee or with your own business that's dependent on you. The other 2 quadrants, these developed by Robert Kiyosaki, are about leveraging effort and time and money. And so if you own a business like a McDonald's franchise, you own the system, and your income depends on the active work of people besides you. So you compound their efforts. And if you're an investor, your money works for you. Income doesn't depend on your active work. Your money works for you. And 95% of our wealth is controlled by 5% or less of the population. The problem of getting from the left side to the right side is the cost of entry into being a business owner or investor. A typical franchise is over $1 million, and you actually have to own a couple to actually have to be wealthy with your income. And of course, as an investor, you need several million to just put your money to work to bring in a wealth kind of income. So what is the opportunity today? It's the gig economy, and that's the new economy that's evolving, where independent workers have on-demand availability for temporary assignments and part-time work. There's increased mobility. It's very cost efficient because you can work from home and deduct your work area. And you can have more control over how your time is spent, so you have more work-life balance. And particularly the young people who've watched their parents and grandparents struggle with lost jobs and lost savings, the millennials are joining the workforce in the gig economy. And just a few examples of how it's growing. What's happened to Uber in just 5 years, going from 60 million to 68 billion. And of course, the internet, Amazon, going from 83 billion to 385 billion in those same 5 years. The internet is having a huge impact, and we only are just beginning to appreciate what it can do. People are not only buying online, they're creating whole businesses online. So the collaborative entrepreneurship choice gives you what we call the Nikken advantage. It's a pathway for personal economic stability. And Nikken is a perfect gig because it's easy to integrate to your life, very low cost of entry. You just, it's under $100 to join the Nikken group, and then get your products and start sharing them. It's a turnkey entrepreneurial system, over 40 years of this proven model for how to generate an income by creating a team who love the products and share them, and a wonderful leadership development plan in place. So what do we do as Nikken entrepreneurs? We collaborate with each other, and we leverage our time and efforts by compounding them with others that we attract into the business. So we join Nikken, we share and promote the products, we invite people to be customers and consultants if they're interested in the entrepreneurship, and Nikken does all the heavy lifting that a corporation does. We are just the marketing arm, and Nikken rewards us because products can be fantastic, but if somebody doesn't tell somebody about them, they just sit in the warehouse. So what we call the Nikken Wellness Home is a cash flow engine. You join as a customer, and if you become an entrepreneur, you start sharing it. We have consumables, so there's monthly consumption of Nikken products, and then people want to upgrade when they discover how wonderful these products are. There's always additional users, relatives, friends, colleagues, and then Nikken's constantly learning more about natural energies that they can develop into technologies that make it easy to use to get healthier and healthier. So our collaborative model is this, what looks like a little flower. You're have your wellness home in the center with 5 or more customers building their wellness homes, the 2 hands holding the little houses at the top of this picture. And then below are your 3 or more leaders who have joined you as collaborative partners. And each person works to develop at least 5 wellness homes and customers, and teaches 3 new consultants to do the same. And that is built on your core circle of influence. So we have what we call the ABC compounding system. And and we do 3-way calls, 3-way videos. We meet together at a coffee shop, and the new person has their mentor make the introductions to the potential customer or consultant. So you have 3-way credibility, and it works like a charm. So the support system is amazing. These silver, gold, platinum, these are different levels as you build an organization and become more and more valuable to the company. So you develop yourself and your team through the Nikken support system. And one person, like an apple seed, can be responsible for literally hundreds of thousands of customers and consultants. And we have people in Nikken who have impacted literally hundreds of thousands of lives with our wellness and our health and income potential. And this cone is an illustration of exactly how it works. So you at the top of the cone with your customers and your 3 leaders. So your 3 leaders get 3 leaders, so that's 9, and then each of them have 5 customers, so that's 45 customers. And at that point, you as the leader of that group are reaching the first leadership level with $500 a month or more. And it increases as your organization increases, and we have many Royal Diamonds who've made over $40,000 per month. And I'm talking about per month. And this is based just on each customer doing 100 wholesale dollars a month. And if they're love it like I do, they spend a lot more than that. So it really helps people, planet, and profit. And Nikken has a wide range of benefits and rewards. It's, I believe, the most generous direct sales compensation plan on the market today. So it's truly amazing. If you want to look at more of that, you get back with the person who invited you to this webinar. And so now we're going to look at the core of Nikken, the amazing patented wellness technologies. And I'm going to invite Hattie Jane Daracourt, my co-host, to tell you about what's going on in today's health environment where Nikken is the world's leader in natural energy technologies. So Hattie Jane, she's a former nurse and a great lady, and I wouldn't know her except for Nikken. So the collaboration is delightful. So Hattie Jane, can you take it from here, and I'll switch the slides when you tell me.
Oh, thank you, Randy. It's been such an honor to share the presentations with you. As you see on the screen, or on what you're looking at now, is a mention of stress, sleep, respiration, air, and water. And it points out that in our daily life and in human resistance, stress is a constant factor, but there are times that it becomes virtually overwhelming or highly challenging. And therefore our health needs to be in top form. Or if it's not in top form, it needs to be supported toward top form. Sleep, if we don't get a good night's sleep, our immune system drops down and we have even more stress. Plus we could be grouchy little witches. And then air we breathe. Of course, if you don't breathe, you don't do so good out there in the world. Can't go anywhere. And the water is not a choice, it is an essential element of your existence. And we have started to learn through our marvelous ability to have communications and things about how water is not a spontaneous event, especially if we live in community, in cities and in homes, because we obtain it from sources that deliver it to us. And thank God they found out a way to cut cholera and typhoid from passing through the water system. We don't want those things around. But there are other contaminants that have come into it. We found that our water is not as pristine as it once was. And there are really health challenges with it when we try to augment it in other ways. And Nikken, as with all the products that deals with these problems that we have on ongoing life, has found the most effective way that is really useful. And the next slide. So when we think of our health, we think of our individual, and if we have family, we definitely think of our kids and grandkids. And if we don't have family, we look at our friends and in the area of the folks, because the children really are the future. And we're seeing more obesity. We're seeing more problems with attention and deficit. And we're seeing more sometimes behavioral problems. We're seeing a change from things that we used to have. Although some things were there, but not to the degree they are now. And I invite you to pause this slide and read it and take a look at what's changing. Next. Because our company was virtually founded on the concept that if we're not in balance within our families, with our when I want to go remember something that's really erudite, I get all flustered. I'm sorry, people. But basically, living in balance so that we pay it. It's not just financial opportunity we're talking about. It's not just support for a discomfort that you're having or a challenge having with health. It is a total balance of all aspects of our life, in that it is a opportunity to be healthy by choice, which is what Nikken introduced to me when I found it a number of years ago, because somebody invited me to hear about it. And being in the medical profession, helping people, I was curious about what was this thing that they talked about, because at that moment, time, place, it was the magnets specifically. And so I went to hear about it from someone who had a background that I recognized. And I tried it. And it was so invigorating to find out that my problem of fatigue was markedly changed, and I had energy that I hadn't experienced in years, and it maintained over that week. So I joined the next week because I had a choice. I had been doing all the medical things. I've been changing things and so forth in my health. I've been taking care of my health. After all, I'm in the health profession. But the trajectory wasn't that astounding. I wasn't seeing the going place. And with this, things changed, and I had hope again that I can make choices that improved my health, and indeed have. And therefore, Nikken can continue to grow in its products opportunities for people to use. And that's what we say, I have a wellness home, because my water is filtered. And if I move and go to another spot, I can take it with me. I can just pick it up, dry it off, and just take it along, because it comes out of our tap and into the reservoir and then goes through the filtration process. So we're not tied down. So I feel like I live in a greenhouse, just like my plants I dearly love. I can monitor my nutrition. I can monitor the environment that they're exposed to for light or darkness or air or exchange, protect them from the elements or allow them exposed to some elements. And therefore, my home is a nurturing place in which I can grow things. And therefore, we kind of put them in a very neat, Nikken's very, very wise. It put them in categories. As you see, nutrition, energy, water, sleep. You can almost say that's news. And to some people, Nikken is still news. It's hard to believe we've been around as long as we have. The nutrition is based on whole foods, nothing synthetic, and created out of research done on wellness. The energy pack deals with individual items that we can wear on our person or utilize for individual aspects of our energy flow. And the newest thing is a pad that you see underneath all the individual parts. And that is fantastic, because now I have a way to deal with how my body is responding to these increased Wi-Fi exposures, because I'm right next to some major areas of that need communication, and it fluctuates. And I'm finding that my body, it gets a little bit creaky, cracky, and I just can't feel it as well until I ground. And then I can feel my individual muscles again. Oh, it's so much fun. I'm actually putting up my right leg and being able to put it up on the next step. I wasn't able to do that for 3 years. So it's a major change. And that type of change gives me hope on my choices. The water I drink, forgive me, I'm doing it now, is Well, it tastes good. It tastes clear. And I can keep drinking it, and I don't have that slight gag sensation I get, or, oh, the water after drinking. I enjoy drinking it because of its total purity and taste, and my body likes it because I absorb it so much more effectively. And then when I sleep, the product line gives me the environment of the proper gentle magnetic field that my body's magnetic field can interact with, and helps it settle into this deep restorative sleep. And it uses the rays that we aren't even aware they're there, but they've been there all the time. But Nikken has found a way to recognize how they penetrate throughout, and our bodies do the same thing that other elements do. They absorb those rays. Those rays are then are able to emit that same type of frequency about 3 inches into our bodies, and our bodies start to vibrate and create its own healthy environment. And all of it all together works virtually in a very, very competent greenhouse. Whenever we're asleep, whenever we're at home, we have advantage of it. And when we go out, we wear the insoles, which was the first product, and we take our bottle with us, which is portable. So in case we run out of water or we need water, we can just fill it up at the fountain or in the bathroom, and it's still filtered. So it is still super clean and tasty. So we can enjoy drinking, and we're not polluting the environment with more plastic bottles, even though it's wonderful they're doing some recycling. But in the meantime, I'd be absorbing some of that stuff possibly that came from the effects of being stored in places or transported, or stuff, all the plastic, or stuff that's just in the water that they're just now finding out about, like the tiny bits of plastic. So another wonderful thing about Nikken's ability to market stuff is that these packs have the ability, price-wise, if you get the pack, it's cheaper than getting those particular items individually over time, which at one point I had to do because I didn't have the total pack money. But, and you say, well, they're expensive. Well, they're not. They're not. They really, really are not. Because where else do you have something that you can use effectively that augments and enhances your health? It's just, for me now, any longer it's a no-brainer, but it is still confusing. As long as I've used this stuff, it's still confusing how well things can change. The fact the ground thing's making such a difference. It's just amazing to me what this company has offered us as a way of developing and researching and bringing to the marketplace this quality of products. So I invite you to check us out. Come a customer, if you see something, we used to say a long time ago, well, if you've got a little pain, use a little product. If you've got a big pain, use a big product. And I remember one who happened to be a pediatric neurosurgeon. Not that it's that important, it could have been Palmer, but you'll get a reaction. Now, whether or not you actually recognize all of it, if you're not getting a reaction, you just need more of the stuff. You need more application. You need more interaction because we're a total whole person. And it was just not getting, you just need more of it, apply using it. And you may not know sometimes right away what's happening, but other people will recognize you walking straighter, possibly, probably. Other people will recognize that you don't snap as quickly, that you're happier, and you won't even realize it. But somebody may comment it. And if your kids may have noticed this, one young person said, oh, Mommy, you're just happier when you're doing that. Oh, it just gives me the goosebumps. So thank you, Randy.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Hattie Jane. Great job. And it's so wonderful what these products can do. And they are non-medical. I want to make that point because you don't need an expert to administer them or prescribe them. And they're not designed to treat or diagnose or heal. They're basic scientific replication of earth energy to support the body and let the body do whatever it needs to do, get back in balance and heal any challenges and dissipate stress and that kind of thing. So it's truly an amazing discovery what we can do with self-care. And I want to invite Nancy Lindbloom today to share her story with Nikken. So welcome, Nancy. I appreciate you being on our show today. And you've unmuted yourself. I'm going to mute myself. So please share how you discovered Nikken, Nancy, and what it's meant to you, both in your own health and also the 5 pillars of health.
Thank you, Brandy. Thank you for having me. I started, I'm sorry, just take that off. I started Nikken 16 years ago of using the products, all the technologies, gradually adding them to myself and my husband. And I didn't have any health challenges. And when my dear friend wanted me to try some of the products, she said, you'll get a little more energy on the golf course. I said, why not? So I tried the insoles and I decided to try the demo pad, and she didn't really realize that my husband had shattered his back about 12 years before that. In 1991, he fell and he lost 6 inches in his spine and led a normal life up until 3 years ago when he turned 80. His balance went, and since then we've had a real challenge, but Nikken products and technologies have really helped him. And what helped him was a year ago, September, I got diagnosed with osteopenia. I'm 60, I'll be 66. So I finally have a little bit of a challenge. So I said, okay, Nikken, let's prove it again. I'm going to try the bone health. I really wanted to take it as preventative, but I didn't want to spend the money. So I didn't tell my husband because he's going to say, oh, you're spending too much money on nutritionals, but yet he takes everything. I didn't tell him for 3 months, and he noticed a difference. Like Randy said, people do notice when something changes. And I have a little Miata he bought me years ago, and I used to have to pull myself out. And I was just popping out of the car. And he didn't have to pull me off the floor when I had to get the pots and pans off the floor. I mean, out of my cabinet. So he says, what's going on? I said, well, I've been taking Nikken's bone health. He goes, I want to take that. Now, this is at a time in his life where he wasn't sleeping. He has not slept in a bed for 1.5 years now. He sleeps on a Nikken seat, magnetic seat, and he has the Kenko ground under his feet. He begs me for that. He says, get me that heating thing. It has nothing to do with heat. He puts that under his feet. And before the Kenko ground came, he was only sleeping 3 hours. But within a month or 2, he was sleeping more, and I didn't think too much about it. And in last May, he said to me, Nancy, I don't have any more, a word I can't use. He had no more discomfort. He was sleeping 9 to 10 hours a night, and has continued to sleep that amount. And then when the Kenko ground, you know, the old term game changer, if I forget to take that from the living room and put it on his hammock, he blows his little whistle to get me back in the bedroom because I need that thing. And this is a man who's older generation who was very negative on anything, but he takes everything. So I cannot make a medical claim, but I know in my heart, without Nikken in our lives, he would be in a nursing home right now. I have a picture somewhere here. Here it is. This is in 1991, our wedding picture. I had high heels on. He was 6 foot 1/2 inch. And this is last year. He's now gotten shorter. He's shorter than me. And his spine literally curves on the bottom. And I look at him and he kind of walks like Scrooge, you know, he's just, but he's in no discomfort. and he exercises every day. He's an amazing man for his age and not having done that all his life. So we are very both blessed and thankful that Anne and Suzanne brought this into our lives.
Oh, thanks. What a wonderful story. And I love you showing the pictures because, you know, we all want to be healthy and mobile when we're 80. And it's wonderful to share those models. And we have more and more young people who are concerned that they don't want to be moving into assisted care in their 60s. And they are embracing Nikken as well. It's a wonderful opportunity to really prevent problems, and as you've described, to really help the body rejuvenate from problems. And you know that the accidents happen, and it's amazing how we see recovering quicker when we do all those self-care things that Nikken makes it so easy to do. So Nancy, what just in the last moment, can you share your advice for someone who's really exploring Nikken for the first time?
To learn, to take charge of your own health, be active in it. And I, like probably everybody that is in Nikken, and maybe I'm a little bit over the top, it has to prove to me. The Kenko ground had to prove to me. The bone health. My doctor just told me my cholesterol is a little low. Okay, so I'm going to take the progesterone, and in a year from now, I'm going to see my levels go down, and that's going to prove to me that it works. And I don't take any prescription drugs. My husband, his blood levels and iron levels down a little bit, so he's on something, but he's going to be 84. And my mother was on so many prescription drugs. She had 4 cancers, but what killed her were her kidneys dying from all the prescription drugs. And one thing I didn't point out is, look at all the drugs that are out there and all the drugs people take for bone health that have side effects. And then they have to take more drugs because the side effects are affecting them. Vance, in his ICANN calls, started laughing when I said, Don had a side effect. He sleeps. That's a side effect of our products, and they're all food-based and will do no harm, and they're all natural.
That's great. Yeah, it's so true that when you're working with the body instead of manipulating it, wonderful things can happen that you didn't expect, good side effects. And we see them all the time with Nikken. So do get back with the person who invited you to this webinar. And thank you, Nancy.
Thank you
so much for your story, and Hattie Jane for sharing about what the products can mean to us. And I will be sending this out to those who are attending, so you can share this video with others that you want to introduce to Nikken. So thanks for joining.